Hi guys, if you're interested in seeing how I built this table, stay tuned. So I found this slab at my local sawmill and it's a cookie of a mesquite tree. I decided to place some butterfly inlay or bow tie inlay to stabilize the crack. I started by routing the inlays out with my router, and once I was happy with how snug the fit was, I was able to glue them. So I applied a decent amount of glue and I pounded them in place with a block to make sure I wouldn't damage them. I then went on and sanded the excess, and this is how it looks at the end. We decided to fill in the void with epoxy to make sure that nothing would fall within the crack, and for that we picked some gray epoxy, almost see-through. With the pour being so thick, there was a lot of excess heat and we had to pop the bubbles every so often until the whole epoxy was cured. I could then sand everything to 180 grits. This process took a bit of time because the slab was end grain and a lot harder to sand. It was now time to build the legs, and for that I grabbed a piece of paper and I found a leftover piece of wood in my shop. So I started tracing the outline of that piece of wood, and then I could also trace the other side of the cross using the same piece of wood for reference. So I traced all around that piece of wood, and once I was ready, I could cut this out with a razor blade. Finally, my template was ready, and so I could transcribe the marks of where the two pieces of wood were crossing onto each other so I know where I needed to cut them. So for this part, I was really limited in tools, so I had to use my track saw and a system of stop blocks to cut the excess, and I had to make sure that the depth of the blade was only half of the thickness of the actual piece of wood. And actually, this little makeshift technique worked pretty great. I ended up making two of these sets of legs, and on the second set, I had to remove the middle part to assemble it to the first one. So next, I had to very carefully mark where the next set of legs was going to meet the first one, and I took a lot of time to place marks where my dowels are going to be at. So this process was very tedious because the doweling jig that I use is not made for installing on a flat surface, but I found the courage to go with it and drill for my dowels. I ended up placing 4 dowels per sides. And as you can see, the legs fit pretty snugly. And now at this point, it was time to glue and the legs were done. And this is the final result. I'd like to hear what you guys think in the comment. Thank you for watching.